Knicks and Bruises, we are back in the building. I got the Queen Steph. Thank you for joining me as always.
Of
We
course.
switched it up on you here on a Wednesday instead of a Monday, but we here. So Yo Black is time. Um,
Definitely.
Thanks for joining me, Queen.
Of course. Always a pleasure. Always a pleasure when we get together.
Of course, of course. And first off, I do gotta shout out my guy Jay Boogie. Comment comment of the night. First comment, but comment of the night. He said, waiting for Tony Crow is like anticipating a Nas album about to drop before you even come in the building. Hit the like button and salute, salute, salute. Caps, salute to you, J Boog. I appreciate it. Biggest compliment ever. You know,
Definitely.
when you talk about Nas and myself being one of his biggest fans. But we're here to talk Knicks, so let's get it started.
Yeah,
Um, Thank you again, and we got an announcement. We'll get to that shortly. But
we will.
things seem to be a little bit better, as of late. A 2 game winning streak, I think our first, right? Or
Yeah.
or
Since November.
since November. First since November. If we win tonight, that would be our first 3 game winning streak, I believe, of the season.
Right.
Um, so and it's a opponent that we should win. So let's hope we do that and get it started and get this you know moving in the right direction. Now's the time. We were lackluster early in the season,
Hmm.
or not early, but as of late, and it feels like things are turning around.
Definitely.
And I'm gonna start with Kimber Walker. I think he's been a big part of us turning things around. Big turnaround in his life as far as going from a starter to not playing at all, and then
Right.
making his way back, maybe only because of COVID and protocols, and who knows if we would have even seen him if that had not been the case. But he came back and led by example, for those young guys to see it, and,
Hmm.
and, and him come back strong. Um, ha- Probably his best 3 game stretch of the season prior to last night.
Hmm. Hmm.
And what are your thoughts, Queen? Would you see? Would you like? How you feeling?
Yeah. 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 Listen, shout out again for having me. Um, this is just like you said, he may not have gotten a chance. He would have got a chance because the cream always rises to the top. I think I'm still on board. Just because something didn't work out doesn't mean it wasn't the right decision at the time. But when he got that opportunity, he took advantage of it. A lot of it was heart, some of it was rest. Some of it was probably feeling embarrassed, feeling like, Tibbs is trying to tell me I can't play when I know I can. And he's sitting on the bench looking at the team bumbling around. So I'm sure he felt like I can't play. Look at the defense. It's not that much better than when I was there. So I think all of that came to a
Mm-hmm.
head when he got back into that starting lineup, and he played great in Boston. But he always plays since he's been with us. The 2 games we've played Boston, he's played good. What's impressed me is a lot of times when you want to show somebody something, that
Mm-hmm.
energy lasts only for a little while. After a
Mm-hmm.
while, it just dissipates and you drop back to where you were. And what I like about Kimba is since that Boston game, he was still good. He was still effective. And more than that, he was Kimba. And I think that was the Kimba I was looking
Mm-hmm.
for to start the season. And I think Tibbs said the same thing as well. But I think, Kemba's a nice guy. So he was deferring to Randall, just like Fournier was. And like this guy was second team All NBA. This guy was most improved player. This guy got the Knicks in the playoffs for the first time in a long time. I'm not gonna come in here and step on his toes. You know what I mean? And I think Randall helped also because after a while they probably looked at him struggling.
Mm-hmm.
It was like, yeah, all right, we could step on his toes because he's not playing that great right now anyway, you know? And I think who knows? I still think, can he hold up for 30 something minutes a game for the rest of the season? I'm not sure, about that. But if he gives us this, if he gives us 75% of the Christmas game, 75% of the Boston game, we good.
Yeah.
Because even when he's not hitting shots, you got to respect him. You
Yep.
can't lay off of him. You can't
Yeah.
log. You can't sit in the lane. Even if he's excuse me, even if he was 3 for 12 up to that point, you still got to respect him.
Yep.
So that helps our offense a lot.
And he'll take a big shot, even though he's 3 for 12, and he'll
And
make
hit
a
it.
good and he'll make a big shot as well. Exactly.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think this is what we envisioned if things worked out with Kimba. I know,
Hmm.
that was a big concern of yours early,
Right.
before we even played the game. You know,
Right.
what Kimba are we get? Which Kimba are we getting? And we sure enough seen both Kimbas this year.
Hmm.
you know, so hopefully, he's learned something from this. Got to stay hungry, got to be yourself, got to play aggressive. They brought you here for a reason.
Right.
Don't try to fit in per se. Be who you are, and
Right.
let the team figure it out. And we haven't figured it out yet. You know what I mean? We
Right.
haven't played a good full team effort yet. I think
Hmm.
we had a game that we were close to that a couple games ago. But I don't think we've seen the best of what we can do yet.
No
Um,
doubt.
on some more positive note, positive play. Um, Mitchell Robinson has been beasting as of late. My question to you is, has he changed your mind about re-signing him, like, before he becomes a restricted free agent?
Yeah.
Um,
That's a
what are
good
your thoughts
question.
on
I'm
what are your
definitely
thoughts on that now?
I'm definitely more encouraged, but this is the thing with Mitch. You get excited because you think, just like with the Knicks this season, he turning the corner now. Like that, he's in the past 4 games, he's had two double multiple block games. And I'm not talking about 10-10, like 10-17, 10-18, 2 blocks, 3 blocks, and just
Hmm.
really looking dominant out there. The thing with Mitch is the inconsistency, and I look, this is his 4th year, and we say this a lot. It's only his 2nd year, it's only his 3rd year, it's only his fourth. At some point, you want the guy to become who they're gonna be. Um, this is how I see Mitch. I want him to be like the Clint Capellas and the Gobert, in that you can pencil them in for a double double and double blocks, a multiple blocks every game. He had 2 in the last 4. I hope he's trending in that direction. But then the game in between, I think he had like 2 points, 4
Hmm.
rebounds, a block. So I think by the end of the season, because they can sign him anytime during the season, correct?
Yeah,
But
I'm sure there's some cutoff point,
okay,
but
okay,
it's not until late in the season. If you know what I mean, if I'm correct.
right. I think, if he's trending in this direction, like pick a date after the injury, pick a date, and just say from here on, what was his stats? What was his win shares? What was
Hmm.
his impact? If it's trending in the right direction, I would definitely sign him. But this is the question I have for you, though. Even if we do sign him, he's still a defensive center, right? He's not an
Hmm.
offensive center. He's still a defensive center. He's getting his shots off of putbacks and things like that. If you had an opportunity to get a defensive center that can also score, would you take that, or would you still stick with a defensive center playing at a high level? So not the Mitch of the beginning of the season, but a
Hmm.
Mitch playing at a high level.
I mean, I absolutely anything to increase our value as a team. So I'm always a Knicks fan first. Um, and if it's gonna make us better, then yeah, I'm for it. But one of the things, I'll take a page out of Josh's book. and say, if we sign him, if we extend him, as he's still only making what he's making now. I think Josh would agree that his value goes up now because he becomes a long term asset. The problem is the value, the player we're taking back has to be in
Mhm.
that same price range, so
Right,
he has to be included in something big.
right.
Um, unless we move him later on, but so yeah, I would do it. But you can do both. You can sign them, extend them,
Hmm.
and you could
Still
if
trade
you
him
still trade them. Well, I don't know. There may be some rules in that
at
once you
some point.
extend. Yeah, but at some point you can trade them. You know what I mean? So yes, I would. It would just restrict. It wouldn't be something that would be done this year. You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
like I'm thinking about a dominant defensive center versus a above average defensive center that can shoot. That's a tough, it's a tough call because when you
Miles
got a
Turner, I get it. I mean,
yeah.
I still
Hmm.
do it.
Hmm.
You know what I mean? I try to avoid it. I try to somehow keep them both if it's possible, if it's feasible.
Hmm.
But if that's what has to be done to make the upgrade, I do it.
I think I would pause.
Yeah.
Because a defensive center at a high level, playing at a high level, but can't shoot like a Gobert, right? Plays defense at a high level, double, double, um, points and rebounds, block shots, no offense. Would I take that over a Miles Turner? It's close. It's close
Listen,
because
you
he's at a high
guys,
level.
you guys have talked me into the whole Miles Turner thing. So I don't want to flip flop twice. I do think he would help the team, but like I said, if I could keep Mitch, I'm trying to keep him because he's super valuable to me. Personally, he's one of my favorite bigs over the past couple of years. I don't think we've
Oh.
actually had a guy
Hmm.
of
Hmm.
his stature
Hmm.
and with his potential. And
Right.
again, as weird as it sounds, like I think he could be Gobert, but we don't know if he could be better than that. Like I think there's still a possibility of that. And when I say that, I mean offensively. I think he can
Right.
still develop some things. I think they want him to be at his peak in those two areas first.
Right.
Rebounding and defense, and then they'll let him start expanding.
His
Some
offense.
some. Yeah, I think that's just the way
Right.
they're. I don't want to say breeding him, but they're
Yeah.
teaching him.
Right. I mean, the other thing is that I don't see a lot of which makes me think can he become better than Gobert is I don't see a lot of improvement from year to year with Mitch. I see some improvement from year to year, but I haven't seen a leap yet. In
It's
his
it's
fourth year. Mhm.
it's hard. It's hard though because of that gap, that injury gap. Really,
Mhm.
it's hard to even rate him last year. Like when I rate him, I'm really
Mhm.
rating him off of his last 10 games prior to the injury,
To the injury.
which is a small sample size, but I think that's him at his best. I think
Right.
what we've been seeing in these last 4 games or so, minus the one miss, I
Hmm.
think he was closest to he's ever been to that 10 game frame that from last year.
Right.
So I think he's about to get it. I think he's about to get it, and
Okay.
knock on wood, if he stays, available, I think we'll see the best Mitch that we've seen throughout his career, that down the stretch.
I hope so because a defensive center changes everything. I mean, it just changes everything. I mean, the Knicks already. I don't know where they are now after this game, but I think after the Christmas game was fourth in the NBA in defending the rim.
Mm.
And that included block shots, that included, people missing at the rim, things of that sort. They were like number 4. So their interior defense is really good already. Mitch rebounded. I don't know what our rebounding stats is, but sometimes we do give up offensive rebounds. And that's why I want to see Mitch. I just want to see him just become a rebounding horse.
Mm.
10 points, 17 rebounds, 12 points, 18 rebounds, 10
Yeah.
points, 12. I don't ever want to see 6, 7, or 8.
And unfortunately, excuse me, he fights more for the offensive rebound, obviously, because that is a potential putback. That's a potential basket for him.
Mm,
That's how he's gonna get his points for the most part anyway. And so I agree. I like to see him secure that defensive rebound more that more than he does. He's
yeah,
not he's good at it. You know what I mean? But I want him to pursue him like he does the offensive ones.
right.
And
In traffic, like
yeah,
just in
yeah,
traffic, just go and get it.
yep. And he's been doing that as of late too. I think
Yes,
we've been
yes.
seeing a little bit more of that, little feistiness in him
Mhm.
as of late. Which
Mm,
Sim said it yesterday. He looks like he's playing angry.
right.
And if he can continue that, I think it'll take him a long way
And
for
us.
sure, and us.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah.
yeah. So another positive was Mitchell Robinson's play, Kimba's play. Um, I do want to talk about some of the chatter in the various chats. I'm not necessarily talking about you guys listening right now. I haven't
Right,
seen much of that much of that talk here, but I've been in a bunch of different chats as of late, and the Randall slander is still heavy. It's still a lot of people talking about he's got to go, trade him, and you know this and that, and then the Tibbs chatter. A lot of guys aren't sure if Tibbs is the guy for us. Saying he's the wrong coach. I had one guy tell me James Dolan needs to come down and intervene, which that's probably the craziest comment I've heard. But what's your thoughts on? Obviously, it's been a down year for Randall. You
yeah,
know what I
no
mean?
doubt
Like,
about it.
and I'm not here to make excuses for him. I'm actually here to say that it's half a season almost. He could still turn it around. Um, he's still learning. I've brought that up in the past. It's gonna be a continued learning process for him year to year because as he gets better or as he adjusts, the defense adjusts.
Right,
He has to readjust. Um, at some point he'll be able to do that a lot quicker during the season. But
right.
I think he's learning that right now. He's learning to play with these two new guys in the starting lineup, and obviously with these two new guys and their abilities, he has to adjust even more. It's not about him. It's he has to let these guys do what they do best as well, which may take some things away from him. So he's
Mhm.
gonna have to adjust. But trade him, I think that's outlandish. Um,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
and the Tibbs thing. I mean, are you questioning Tibbs' ability, his longevity with the team, and anything of that
No,
nature? All right,
no.
so
Let me
at
let me
least I
start
know
with
I'm not
Tibbs.
crazy.
I'll start with Tibbs. We knew, those of us who know Tibbs knew who Tibbs was when the Knicks signed him. And I just don't feel you can get on a coach for being who he is. You know what I mean? Tibbs has been known. I'm not saying he's not going to play the young guys. Remember, we got 4 young guys, 4 years and under in our rotation, right? So we're playing 10 people. 40% are young guys. Obi and 5 if you include Mitch. That's if you
Oh,
include Mitch, because Mitch is just his 4th year, right?
yes. Yeah,
Right.
this is his
So you
fourth.
got Mitch, you got Obi, you got IQ, you got RJ,
You
and
got
there's one other one,
Quickly,
and Quickly. So
and
50,
and and Grimes is getting minutes right now.
so
I think
50
he's earned a rotation spot right now.
Right. So like 50%, 60% of the rotation is guys who have been in the league 4 years or less. But this is the thing, and this is just in the world general. Once a narrative gets started, it's really hard to stop it, right? So he is playing young guys. Tibbs, the thing with Tibbs throughout his career, he has to trust you. Once you earn his trust, like IQ, you can shoot from the train station. You good. If you didn't earn his trust, you can have one turnover. You coming out the game. That's Tibbs, and it's always been Tibbs. He's a type of guy, he likes consistency in
Hmm.
his rotations. This is who he is. So he was the same way last year. We just had success. He's the same this year. We're just not having as much success. You don't go from being able to coach one year to not being able to coach. So all the complaints about Tibbs this year is relevant to last year and
Hmm.
relevant to his entire career. So when the Knicks hired him, they knew what he was going to get. I don't even know a coach that's as consistent as Tibbs. He's gonna do it his way. You know what I mean? This is who he is. This is another thing I'll say. Let's not underestimate the fact that we're only 1 year into this new culture of the Knicks, this turnaround. 1 year. So
Hmm.
now you're gonna change. Be careful what you ask for. You check Tibbs is running this show, in my opinion. The front office is, but in terms of the identity of the team, it starts with Tibbs, right? The identity of Miami that starts with Pat Riley in
Pat
the front
Riley,
office, then Spo, then the players, right? In San Antonio, I think it's Pop.
Pop.
When Pop leaves, it's going to be something totally different. So
Hmm.
in New York right now, it's Tibbs, right? Tibbs leave. How do we know we don't slide back to where we were before? We're not out of the woods yet as an organization. I'm not even talking about the team. As an organization, we're not out of the woods. Let's get this culture established. If it takes 2 years, 3 years, 4 years, 5 years, where we are a different organization, then if you want to change the coach, change the coach. I just think
Two
we need that stability. Go
two
ahead.
things. Um, One, I feel like this is the most I've seen Tibbs adapt this year, as far
I
as
too.
his consistency and what he was, the narrative painted against him. Like you've seen some of it throughout his tenure here, but I think this year we've seen the most adaptation from him, uh, more than ever. Some
Mhm.
even with his consistency, one of the things I pointed out when he benched Kemba, like I thought that was out of his character,
Right.
knowing what he did with Peyton. As much as people cried for Peyton to be off the floor,
Mhm.
he preached consistency. He rode with his guy. He reduced his minutes when need be. So that's one thing I think he did
Right.
that I was like, wow, you know. But I'm gonna trust Tibbs. I don't agree with it, you know what I mean. But I'm gonna trust Tibbs because trusting Tibbs is what got us,
Right.
to the playoffs last year. Another thing, why I was so worried about this fourth seed that we got last year, and knowing or feeling that we overachieved, because I knew once that happened, the expectation. This is before a playoff game was played, but
Right.
I knew the anticipation, the pressure is on now. Now it's four or better. You know,
Right. Right. Right.
anything less, these Knicks fans are gonna go nuts. And so we skipped a couple of steps. I felt like, and I thought it was nice to witness and be a part of, but I thought it was to our detriment. And when I say that, I'm speaking like the fan view. I'm not speaking
Right. Right.
organizational view. Because guys are losing their mind right now in
Right.
various chats, thinking that we weren't gonna revert. I mean, or like we was gonna get the fourth seed again. We've spoken about that intensely before the season. You know,
Right.
there's no guarantee we're gonna be a fourth seed. There's
Right.
no guarantee we're gonna be a fifth seed. Let's
Right.
hope we get the sixth seed or better.
Right.
You know, so
Right.
we don't have to. But
Right.
you know, these things were options. So I have brought up a point on Freezy. Shout out to Freezy show. Um, you know, if by chance we don't turn this thing around, right, or we turn it around real late, and we end up being in the play in,
Mm-hmm.
but make the playoffs and move past the first round, isn't that a success from last year? Like you can't just judge the standing
Right. Right.
and you know and say this is a failure, this is a success. You if you're gonna judge anything, judge. Let's see if we get to the playoffs, right? That's first, and then
Mm-hmm.
judge that series.
Right.
You know what I mean.
Right.
So, what's your thought? Your thoughts on that? I know I went on
Yeah, I
a
mean,
rant.
no, 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 that's fine. That's fine. I was following you. I wonder if the fan base is just like for me, I'm upset more about how we're playing, not necessarily the particular seed per se. It's just that we're inconsistent. The Fournier Kimba experiment up to this point hasn't really done what we thought it would do, which is, elevate our offense and we'll take a little step back
Mm-hmm,
defensively. But it seems like the introduction of those two threw everything off. And I'm not going to put it just on them two. RJ took a step back. Randall took a step or two back, so, and I don't want to say it's because of them, but a big part of our season, our success last season, Tone, was chemistry. It wasn't the
mm-hmm,
talent. It was the chemistry. It was that
mm-hmm,
consistency. It was that working hard, the defense, game in, game out. And remember, we did it around 500 for a long time.
mm-hmm,
Then we would go over 500 for a game, come back, go over 500. It took us a while before
mm-hmm,
so we was a little shaky. I agree with you. I think that 10-game win streak, because we were hot and we was on a roll, kind of inflated our win total and made us, maybe as a fan base, myself included, think we were better than we actually was because we just got hot. Just like Atlanta. Atlanta got hot and went to the Eastern Conference Finals, but I never thought Atlanta was an Eastern Conference Finals perennial team. They just got
mm-hmm.
hot at the right moment. You know what I mean? So, and now I'm ranting and forgetting my forgetting my point. But I think the disappointment is we just don't look right. We just don't look right.
I mean, I agree. We don't, and again, like even last game, we you know you could argue we squeaked out the win, even though we it was kind of wire to wire,
Mhm.
but you know it didn't look pretty, but I think that those are better wins than blowouts to me, because
Right.
it shows the team that we can not necessarily play well
And
and we
still
can
win.
still win,
Yeah.
but there's things we got to do
Right.
to still win. You know what I mean? Um, so I'm still encouraged. Um,
Mhm.
Tibbs long term, you say yes.
I say
He,
yes because I'm not just thinking about wins, Tony. I'm thinking about us changing the culture of the Knicks, and Tibbs is the guy. Now, I think the organization, we may have taken a step back in culture because they didn't give him his defensive minded guys, right? Had they given him his defensive minded guys, that would have cemented like this is the Knicks.
hmm
You're going to play defense on the Knicks, and we're going to be a good defensive team like Miami. So I think that's kind of making it difficult to cement the culture. But yes, I think we only 1 year in. This is not the time for changes. 2, 3, 4, 5 years. Even if we're not winning, I'm thinking about us as a team, just like the rest of the fans. But I'm also thinking about us as an organization and as a culture. These last 7, 8 years, the Knicks were a hot mess. Can you imagine getting rid of Tibbs after 1 year? And now we
Look,
back with that same
thank you,
narrative about
thank
the
you,
Knicks, the same drama about the Knicks. Even if
thank you.
he's stinking up the joint, we gotta hold the line right now. We can't afford it, in my opinion.
I swear, sometimes it's like you take the thoughts right out of my head. I'm telling you, like I do not want to be paying another coach that is not coaching our team. We've done that too many times. I'm with you, even if he's thinking up the joint, which I don't necessarily think he is right now. I think it's still a work in progress.
Right,
We're figuring it out, but like he has to finish his contract.
right,
We have to do that for once. Let's try that instead of
right,
doing the
right,
same
right.
thing.
Let's
Same.
show that we're doing something different, right?
So
Impatient Nick as a franchise. And it's not just the fans. I'm hoping Dolan is patient as well.
yes.
Because maybe, we was a fourth seed. He's been like, slandered or whatever. So now I'm sure he felt good that for the first time in a long time, his organization was in the fourth seed. We was in the playoffs. If we
Hmm.
don't make it this year, he might get impatient. I
Yeah.
hope not.
Let's not encourage him either because we should enjoy this time with him not in the papers or
Right.
in the news or saying anything about the team. So
Yeah.
I agree with you 100%.
Yeah. But we didn't
Um
finish the Randall thing though. We talked
okay.
about Tibbs. We didn't really talk about
And
Randall. Do we got time?
yeah, absolutely. Keep it
Yeah.
going. Randall long term.
Yeah.
I
Let
mean,
me tell you,
we just gave him the extension
we did.
and he didn't ask for the full, whatever he was eligible to get. So he gave us a pay cut. Um, I mean, let's look at from the beginning to now. First year, I don't think he's playing as bad as he played. Excuse me, his first year. I think he's doing some things. I don't think he's as offensive minded as he was his first year. I think that's
Mhm.
one thing he did his first year that he's not doing right now. I think he needs to get a little bit more offensive minded, look for his
Mhm.
shot, and look to be a top scorer in this league,
Right.
or at least for this team consistently.
Mhm.
Um, but I I really think he's just figuring it out. Um, when you have guys that are able to handle do a lot more offensively than the guys that were previously in that position,
Right.
but you're used to doing a lot for them to
Right.
feed them their offense. It's
Right.
it's almost a clash on both ends, and it's not like intentionally or just bad playing, but if I'm a guy that's used to you know making a decision and saying, all right, I could shoot this or I could pass this, and then he's a guy that is used to doing the same thing, and then
Right.
you're a guy that's used to saying, all right, here, you shoot it here, you shoot it
Right.
here. It's
Yeah.
it's taking me out my rhythm.
Right.
You don't look the same either. I think they got to figure that out. I do think he's starting to. Um,
Right.
and I think before the Kimba benching, Sim did a video talking about their chemistry. I think it was 2 days before the benching. So I think they were starting to figure it
Figure
out
it
then
out.
as well.
Right.
But those analytic numbers with Kimba, I think that kind of did
Yeah.
that. But go ahead. What are your thoughts on Randall long term? Um,
Right.
this season going forward.
Yeah, well, I'm a Randall supporter. He's not making me look too good right now. I remember I put that tweet that I'll die on the hill with Randall. Well, I got shot in the kneecap, so I'm going down a little bit at a time. I agree with you in the sense that some people are able to adjust really easily. He doesn't seem to be that type of guy. He was playing one type of way on last year's team. Now on this year's team, they don't need him to create offense, right? They got Kimba to do that. And Kimba's actually at his best when he's taken over that role, right? Playing off of Randall, which is what he was doing in the first part of it, wasn't working. So they don't really need Randall to play that way. And I think he's just discombobulated in a way. That being said, though, I don't. Does that should that affect your open shots though? Like his open shooting, his open shots. He's not shooting
You,
well.
oh, I
Go ahead.
thought you was gonna say he's not taking them because he does
No,
pass up.
oh no,
He
he's
does
taking
pass
them.
up some open shots too. Uh,
Okay, all right. And this is the other thing. So I agree with you. He's trying to find his stride because he has a new role on this team. He's finding that old role is not working. The team is not successful that way. He has to change it up. We're finding some success with Kimba, um, being the handling the ball and facilitating the offense. But this is where I think Randall has to get better, and it doesn't have anything to do with his just he's trying to do too much. Like just like I talked about on Nothing But Next, we did the pregame show. He got the ball in the center of the zone. Just turn around and take the shot. He dribbling. You got the ball. Somebody set you up really nicely on the 3-point line. Okay, you don't want that shot? Take one dribble in, take that shot.
mhm,
He's dribbling right. So like he's not processing, he's not sharp this year. He's not
mhm.
processing things as quickly this year. Now, I don't necessarily agree that this is all he's going to ever be. This is his ceiling. Last year might have been his peak, but he doesn't have to be have to duplicate last year. But can we get 85% of it, 80%
Mhm.
of it? You know what I mean? So I don't think he should be traded. I think they do need to bring in better players. 50% of this roster is players 4 years or less of the rotation. I mean, what
Mhm.
are we trying to do? Are you really trying to win with 1 and 2 year players playing significant roles in your rotation? I don't
All right.
know.
Let me argue with something some of these guys would say.
Mhm.
Um and it is somewhat of a valid point. The younger guys have been playing better than the older guys this
Okay.
year. So what do you say to that argument
I
that
think it's correct. They have been. They have been, but that doesn't mean they're going to continue to play that way in a different role. Like I've heard earlier in the season, people in the chat saying we should switch it, and trust me, the starting unit was playing like trash at the time. We should switch it, and we should start the bench and make the starters. But listen, now you got your bench playing against the starting five of other teams. How long is that going to hold up? You understand what I'm saying? Like, I believe even if your starters are not playing well, if they're veterans, you just have to believe that at some point they're going to hit their stride, right? And you just giving them every opportunity. With a rookie, you already know from the gate it's going to be up and down, up
Mhm.
and down. That's just the nature of being a rookie. And there's nothing wrong with that. So I'm all for rookies being in a rotation if they've earned it and they playing well enough. But as much as that the fan base gets on Fournier, I'm gonna put my money on Fournier that he's gonna find his form before I put my money on a McBride that he can start and elevate this team if he's the star. Like I'm not because you got to play the
they
percentages.
they don't necessarily value experience. And experience is invaluable. I mean, you look, it's not just basketball. Just look about just think about life and your
Yeah,
life experience and things that it changes a decision you made when you was 19,
right,
20, 21. Even at 10 years later, 31, 32,
right,
28, you're not going to make those same decisions based off
right,
of your
right,
experience. And it relates right into the basketball court. um
right.
uh do
But
want
I'm
to
not
shout out
saying he shouldn't play.
shout out the chat again. Andy said woohoo, 500 subs for Tony. Yes, I appreciate you guys. I did just hit my little milestone of 500 subscribers.
During this show.
I noticed it right before I went live, so it had to
Oh,
been within the last day or two. But yeah, I appreciate you guys for sure. I'm halfway to monetizing, so I appreciate you. Let's keep it going. Hit
yeah,
the like,
definitely.
hit the
You deserve
subscribe,
it.
share. Um, but yeah, appreciate you, Andy, and Josh. Uncle Fully. I see you in the chat. He says Randall is not selfish. In fact, he overpasses sometimes. I agree. I think he needs to be more selfish. Um, and more importantly, I mean, we've been saying this
Mhm.
throughout his tender, but when he makes quick decisions, it changes
Every,
everything for him. Everything
every,
for him. So
yeah,
that's what it really boils down to. When the more he thinks, the more likely he is to make a mistake. When he's just doing it, and those turnovers off quick decisions, I live with.
hmm
It's those ones where it kind of looks like, man, you could have seen, you should have, as long as you took, you should have seen that coming. You know what I
right,
mean?
right, right, right.
but but
Yeah,
yeah,
I
I'm
mean,
with you, man. He got
yeah,
us where we are right now.
he has, and one of the things I like about him is that he works. He just works. He just works. There is some all NBA, multiple all NBA players in this league that has not had a season like Randall had last year. Never had a season like he had last year. And that's his peak. That's his, I mean, you could say like, that's his best, up to this point, and he may never reach that. But if he gets close to that on a every season basis, that's pretty good.
I,
That's pretty
I,
good.
I don't even think that's his peak so far in his career, but I think he can be better. I think he
Oh
can be
wow.
better.
Tony last year was
All it would take for him to be better is to be more efficient. That's all it would take. If his efficiency
right.
goes up 5 points, that changes a lot.
And his
Like
decision making.
I, I think they go hand in hand, but yes,
Mhm.
it is this, and the turnover numbers. I'm not too concerned with because like we brought it before. You look throughout the league, the primary ball handler or the guy who has the ball in his hand the most has the most turnovers. The leading scorer, the go-to guy on the team, he has the most turnovers. You can look throughout every team,
Right.
look at the best guy on the team,
How
and
much he's
he's
averaging? Like three?
four, four. I
Four?
I, I want to say four, or maybe four is around the like the LeBrons and the Hardens,
Right,
and maybe he's
right,
like 3 point. You know what I mean? Like 3.6, 3.8 something. You know what I mean? But average, if you round it up, he's
right.
3.5 to 4. But it's less than those guys. You know what I mean? Those LeBrons, the Hardens, the Westbrooks, the
Right.
um Tatum's, like they all average a lot of turnovers because they have to make all the decisions. So I
Yeah,
mean,
I mean,
I can live with them as long as they're not crucial. He tends to get one in the fourth in close games. Those are the ones that he got to cut those out. You know what I
yeah.
mean?
But I think most of them, sometimes Randall reminds me of a quarterback in the pocket. I'm like, you don't feel
The
that
pressure.
double team. You still trying to dribble, like you don't feel that pressure, that double, triple team. You don't feel that, enough to pick the ball up and swing it. So,
And one could argue like, hey, at least he ain't rattled. Like if we were real, like homers, and you'd be like, hey, at least
right,
he's not rattled. Like, but nah, I definitely know what you say because a lot of times those are the ones that get poked out. And, you know what I mean? That was it Caruso play in the Bulls
right.
game
hmm
when he stole the ball late in the fourth.
hmm
Like that's a prime example. Like,
Right.
but I think sometimes Randall looks at that guy and he's overconfident. Like,
Right.
yeah, I see him,
Right.
but
I could
like
take
I could, yeah, I could protect him or whatever
yeah.
the case.
I
Protect the
mean,
ball.
so yeah, I mean, back to your point, I wouldn't I don't think we should trade him, but he has to get more efficient. He has to get more efficient, and he has to make better decisions. And we got a whole longer list. He can be good, but he got to be more efficient. He got to make better decisions. I mean, that's a lot, you
He
know.
needs his 3 points to shoot. He fall again. I mean, that's a big jump. He's almost 10 points lower,
Yeah,
percentage wise.
yeah. I think we got to bring in players better than him, like Kimba. Fine, Fournier. Fine. We might need another one.
Mm,
We might need another one because I think when you have though, I think he's willing though. Like he's not giving Kimba any flack for. He's recognizing that Kimba plays better on the ball, so he's not. He doesn't seem to have a problem with it. So I think we need those type of guys who've had success in this league. And he's gonna respect them.
Um, is there a lineup move that you would
Yeah,
solidify and change? Go.
this is
I
what I
mean,
would do.
not saying Tibbs is gonna do it or should, but like if it was you.
Yeah, and this may not be very popular, but I would right now I see IQ man in the second unit as the point guard. I would go with McBride. And I don't think it's a contradiction in terms of what I said earlier. I just think that you got Kimba, playing however minutes he's gonna play in that second unit. How much scoring do we need? You got
Mhm,
Burke, you got Grimes now who's in that second unit who could shoot. You got Obi who can, generate offense. What I think they're playing Taj, who's not a slouch on the offensive end as well. I would like to see McBride in playing the backup point over quickly. Now, that means quickly is situational. So that's a
mm,
hard choice
mm,
make because quickly, um, I mean, I guess it's not even quickly's fault. Sometimes you do things that's best for the team, not necessarily that a player is not playing well, but
mm,
quickly is another shooter. Do we need yet another shooter?
mm.
I don't know.
That's huge. I mean, I wasn't even thinking that he would be the guy that gets affected by
Mhm,
that move. I was thinking he'd just be the two. Uh, I think maybe Grimes and McBride get somewhere
mhm,
of equal amount of minutes. You know what I mean?
mhm.
So,
You mean
but
like expand the rotation from 10 to like 11?
yeah, that's what I thought you was saying because I
Just
can't
don't
s-
think Tibbs
I
would I
can't
just don't
see.
think Tibbs would go. I don't think well, we said what Tibbs wouldn't do. Tibbs not taking IQ out. He
And
just
that's
not.
yeah, that's
He
what I'm
not.
saying. Like
He's not.
if decision is moving him to situational to for
He's not
McBride, I
doing
don't
that.
see it. I
I
I
don't see
see
it
an
either.
expansion of the rotation more than I
Mm,
see that,
I
especially
don't
with
see either.
with Kimba um back in the starting lineup and the minutes he's been playing as of late. I
Mhm.
don't think that's sustainable. You saying you don't want Kimba playing 30 minutes a night and he's been averaging probably close to 35 since coming back.
I don't get Tibbs. Like, I don't, how you not get it? Rose played, and I don't know if this is what happened to the ankle. It could be a coincidence. He's playing these 30 minutes, or what have you, because he didn't want to put Kimba back in the rotation. Boom. Now it's an ankle injury. And it may not even be related. But
Hmm.
you just got to realize these guys can't play these minutes for an extended period of time.
Yeah, that's another narrative that I was hearing in the Knicks verse that that Tibbs is trying to get Kimber hurt, so he's playing him all these minutes so he could take him out with a legitimate reason, like he can't, you know what I mean? I'm
Right.
like, dang, man, these guys are harsh.
I don't think he's
um,
doing that. But this is what I will say about Tibbs. I like the fact that when Kimba got back in that lineup and started playing in a way that Tibbs liked, Tibbs put him back in. He didn't feel like,
mhm.
oh, I'm so, which just says to me, Tibbs is doing what he thinks, whether we
Yes,
agree or disagree, he's
it's best for
always
the team.
doing what he thinks is best for the team. Kimba came back in, he's playing aggressive, he's playing, oh, okay, you can come back now. Instead of, oh man, I'm gonna look like a fool if I put him back. So let me put him back. No, he's gonna do what's best for the
and
team. That's
and
classic.
and think about it. Even contrary to what I said earlier, but this is back to who Tibbs being who Tibbs is. You know what I mean? Like, because that's one thing that he was consistent with last year. You get your shot, you miss out, you go back into the situational, you get your next shot, you play well, you get more
Back in.
minutes, you back in the rotation. I mean, look at a guy like Austin Rivers. Came in,
Mm,
traded for him, brought him in, won us a game or two, stunk it up for four, back
you
to
out for the day.
situational.
I don't care
You
if you're
got to
my
you got
friend's son.
you got to you got to earn your way back if you're willing to wait it out, or we'll find a home for you,
Right.
or whatever the case. But I mean, I agree. Um, last topic before we get out of here, before we make our announcement,
Announcement.
and then we get out of here. Um, Another hot topic, going on in Knicks versus Obi Toppin, and he needs more minutes. This goes back to the narrative, the Randall narrative that he's taking the minutes away from Obi, and play the young guys, blah blah blah. Uh, I mean, I think whatever the reason is, number one, he's clearly getting more minutes, more opportunities, more chances than last year. Like,
Right.
so let's acknowledge that off the jump. Um, but my thing is, I trust Tibbs. I think it's good for him. I think it's great for him. Just like I feel with the other younger guys.
Hmm.
Like, play and produce at your best in the minutes that you get, and you will get more. It's proven. Like, we know that that's who Tibbs is. Like all this argument of, like, oh, he pulled them early. He made a mistake, or it was after a travel. But we don't know if that might have been the straw that broke the camel's back. We don't know if that's, like, it was just that. Like Sim mentioned yesterday, he could have missed an assignment. It could have been any number of reasons that just happened to be the one. All right, let me pull him right now. But
Right.
whatever it is, he's got to learn from it, right?
Right.
And he's been consistent in this, from last year to this year, and we've seen improvement. We've seen growth. So it's not hindering him. You know what I mean? If anything, I would argue that it's making him better. It's making the other younger guys better. The
Right.
McBrides, the Grimes. These guys know I have to produce in my opportunity. I don't know when I'm gonna have another opportunity,
Right.
and I
Yeah.
I think it makes him better. I think it's great coaching. Um, but what say you? Are you on the Obi has to play more no matter what, or are you okay with the Tibbs coaching of?
Yeah, I think I'm okay because of this. I do see the improvement in Obi, other than the 3-point shooting. I do see the improvement in Obi, but where are you going to play him? So yeah, if you want to give him more minutes, so that means you got to go small ball and you got to take minutes from Mitchell Robinson and Noel. And like I said earlier, our interior defense is top 5 in the league, right? That's pretty much the only thing we got going for us defensively, you know. So if you want to play him more, that means you got to play small ball, play Mitch less, play Noel less, right? Or you have to play Randall less.
I
Randall,
think that's what they're arguing for
that's
Randall to
that's the
play less.
argument. But this is what you gotta recognize: a coach and their best player. If the team is a tight enough team, they have a bond, and that coach believes in that player, right? And so they are not going to so when I say they believe in them, they believe that they can turn it around at any minute. They
Hmm.
believe that 60% of Randall is better than 80% of Obi because he's been there. He's been in the fire. He understands this. He's not playing well, but he gets it, you know? So yeah, for a game or so, yeah. I mean, he's stinking up the joint. Nah, instead of 38 minutes, maybe you're gonna play 32, and I'm gonna give Obi, 4 more minutes. But like 18 minutes, and Obi is gonna that is never going to happen. You want to lose your best player, right? You want to lose your best player? Start playing him 18 minutes a game and playing a second year player 30 minutes a game because in that little bit of time that he got, he's playing well. A coach is not going to do that. A coach is just not going to do that. So I don't
And
see a path forward for Obi. I don't see a path forward for him in terms to get more time this year and in years to come. I don't see it.
see, I disagree, but he's gonna have to be remarkable. Like he's gonna have to have no mistakes. You know what I mean?
And
And
they're gonna have to
it's
trade Randall then, because what's the path forward?
I think they can coexist. I think they can coexist. I think if the team is clicking, Randall doesn't play 38 minutes. I think I think if the team is clicking, it opens up minutes. But the fact that we're struggling, we're not where we should be record wise. We're not like dominating teams. We're under
Right,
500. Tibbs is gonna rely on Randall. Live or die with it.
right. But even in order for Obi to get even 20 minutes,
Hmm.
Randall has to play 28. I don't see any way in the
Oh no,
world
well I
where
agree.
he
It has
averages 28 minutes a game for a season. I
no
just
no
don't
no no
see it.
no no. It has to be a mixture of small ball or
Okay.
Obi
Okay.
adjusting to play the
Okay.
three, or maybe Randall playing the
Okay.
three. You know what I
Okay.
mean?
Okay.
It's
Yeah,
gonna
yeah,
have to
yeah, yeah.
be an
Okay.
adjustment.
Right.
But I'm okay with him playing his role, playing his position.
For
Like
now. Yeah. Yeah.
like he's this is second year.
Right.
Y'all want like you think he's ready to take over the league right now?
And not just that, we're not gelling too. So you really want to roll out the same rotation over time so that you can get some chemistry, right? Once you get that down pat, yeah, you could kind of make some, some changes and stuff like that. But we don't have any chemistry right now. We need to roll it out the same
Hmm.
way for like the next 35 games before we start talking about making um any more changes. Now, you make an interesting point. Randall, during the health and safety protocols, we had a lot of plays out. He played some three. In Boston, he played some. I'm like, why is Randall playing Jalen Brown? He was playing the three, you know, and he played okay. When Randall is engaged,
Hmm.
I have no problems with his defense. That potential is there. It's just game in and game out, right? So I mean, do you play Randall at three so you can get Obi some more minutes at the four?
And I don't
I don't
see.
know.
I don't do anything just to get him minutes. You know what I mean? He
Right,
has to
right,
make it so that I gotta find the minutes for. You know what I mean? And he
right,
hasn't been that. You know what I mean? He's been
right,
good. He's
right.
improved, but he hasn't been good enough to the point where Tibbs has to make a decision like, oh, how do I find the minutes for
Minutes
him?
for
You,
this
you
guy.
know, you know what I mean?
I do. And we also have to keep in mind he's doing this in a limited amount of minutes. When he gets more minutes, he could take advantage of it and be just as good, if not better, or he could be worse.
Hmm.
You don't
Yeah,
know.
I said it early in the season. I'm gonna say it again. I love the fact that even with our record, even where we stand right now, I love the fact that
Mhm,
we don't have to rely on these rookies, and
mhm.
they can literally grow and be rookies and learn the game, watch the game. It's so nostalgic for me. It reminds me of when I was a kid, uh, looking at the vets and the rookies having to earn their way into the rotation, and sometimes
All
it
of them.
took a couple years.
All of them. Kevin McHale, all of these great players, most of them had to play behind somebody when when they first got into got into the league. There's nothing wrong with it. Um, Shout out to Andrew. If Knicks lose Obi, they will pay daily with the fan base. Listen, we have to get better. And we may have to, I'm not saying it's gonna be Obi, but we may have to trade in some chips.
Hmm.
We might have to trade in some chips.
That is a fact. So, announcement
Oh, one other question.
next.
When
Yes.
you said you like the that old school way, are you digging the old school remix uniforms? I'm digging it. When I see the Houston
Oh.
uniform, I see these old school uniforms with a little remix.
Mm-hmm.
Reminds me of the 90s.
Oh, yes it does. Yes it does. I'm still trying to find me the city jersey, man, and I gotta figure this thing out because I can't find it anywhere, and I'm trying to find the one with the square space. So on
Oh
some.
wow.
So I don't know if anybody got any connects or know where to go, links. Leave a comment. Let me know because I'm trying to get me one of those. Um. So yeah, announcement
Announcement.
next Wednesday. Stephanie and I are going to create a mashup show, a crossover show with Knicks N Bruises Queens Court. This is almost like a prequel to it, if you will. So it'll be a week from today. We got some things in the works as far as structure and some segments and things of that nature. It'll be on the MBK channel. So that'll be my introduction to the channel as far as
Mhm,
co-hosting and or hosting. And
mhm.
I hope to I hope to see you guys there. Um Queen, if you want to elaborate or
Yeah, I just wanted to just add. Can I add one of the segments, or should we just? So,
absolutely.
Tony did the Knicks and Bruises. If you've seen his individual interviews, it's like a therapy session, right? Where you get to really talk about the Knicks and Bruises of being a Knicks fan. And I was thinking, like, this season has been pretty tough, pretty tough. you know, I think we need a weekly Knicks and Bruises to kind of talk about what's our Knicks and Bruises for the act for this past week. And I thought that would be good. As well as bringing back some segments from Queen's Court, like thumbs up, thumbs down. No need for thumbs down if we're doing Knicks and Bruises. Different things.
Yeah,
So we'll do a crossover show once a week, and it should be fun. I
yeah.
like the vibe between us. It should be fun.
We get to whoa, the city eBay is like $300. I might still have to get it though. I appreciate that. I'm gonna look on eBay for that. Yeah, so we don't want to keep it all negative. We do some Knicks and Bruises from the past week,
Hmm.
and we'll get some positive outlooks. We're not gonna give away those
Right.
segments, but we got some positive segments,
Hmm.
some grievance
Okay.
segments, and hopefully yeah, we get this thing going.
Yeah.
Appreciate all you guys' support. Thank you for helping me get to 500 subscribers. That is a
Definitely.
milestone for me. I'm halfway there, and I'm gonna continue to work hard and keep trying to give you some Knicks content. Queen, I appreciate you jumping
Yeah. I
on as
appreciate you, of
always.
course.
This was a great prequel to the what we got going on, and then of
Definitely.
course we'll still be back on Mondays with Queens Court and
Hmm.
Mondays with Knicks and Bruises. Um,
Yep.
Probably back to back, but it'll be a whole lineup. Monday and Wednesdays you get to see us. Appreciate you as always, and shout out to the chat and Yo
Right.
Black is time.